All right, y'all, we're gonna plant a perennial. That's a plant that's here for the long haul, kind of like me in the Catskills. So if you ever like killed a house plant, don't worry, don't stress. Today, we're gonna do it together. I'm gonna show you the tips and the tricks and my process on how to put something in the ground that will be here for the future. We're gonna do it in 30 minutes. This is my 30-minute challenge. Clock is now set to 0. Let's go. If you're new to the channel, welcome. My name is Stefan and this is Root and Roam. This is my journey around gardening, outdoors, and home. So if you don't know what a perennial is, right? A perennial is a plant that you put in the ground that's gonna be there for a long time. Not forever. Some of them do kind of like die off and you need to kind of like, oh God, it is buggy. Welcome to the Catskills. You know what I mean? Like this, it rained for so long. We're in zone 6A, the gnats are out. So I'm going to make sure that I do this in a hurry because I need to get back inside. This is my 30-minute challenge and we are ready to go. So I'm going to be planting a perennial today. I'm going to show you all of the tips and the tips, tricks, and my process. Some of you guys may already know it, but hey, again, we're here together. We're doing this together. Drop a like, drop a comment. See you in the dirt. Peace. Okay, so what you're going to need is I have my trusty Gorilla cart. And if you have any type of cart system, bucket, you know, that's fine. You're going to need your perennial. I'm doing a salvia. I love the salvia for the purple blooms. And the height is perfect and the deer don't like it. You will need your premium soil. So today I'm going to be using the micro grow garden soil all-purpose for in-ground. Right, you don't want to make the mistake and do a potting soil. I'm not gonna lift it because I don't have my gloves on, but I'm gonna do some cow manure compost. Before putting the root ball in the system, I will go ahead and sprinkle some of the plantain in. My trusty gloves I'm gonna need. You know, they're not even matching. That's how much I love gardening. I'm like, whatever's left and whatever is right. I'm gonna use a little, I don't even know what this guy is called, but let's call it a fork for today. If you know what it is, drop it in the comment. So yeah, and some water, you know, because after you plant it, we do need to water it in. Before I put mulch down, I will kind of lay some 1/4-inch emitter drip around it so I don't have to come back and water it every day. I have like a little drip irrigation system and I'm thinking about planting it right here. You know, the purpose is, you know, as I step back, as I step back, you know, seen the video about potting. Stay tuned for that. But, you know, I'm trying to create a nice little opportunity for visual interest there. Okay, so here I go. Let me get my gloves on. Okay, so here I go. It's already 5 minutes in. All right, we're doing this under 30. Let's see. So because it's really buggy, my little tip is getting some kind of like netting system. There it is. See, that's perfect. These, you know, I'm like Superman. This is, you know what I mean? It's like I can be out here and these gnats are not getting me. So I think it's important that you pick your spot. Picking the spot that's going to give your perennial the opportunity to grow based on light condition, based on water needs. That's going to be really important when you pick your spot. I like this spot here because it's going to get all of the sun that the salvia needs in order to thrive. It's not going to be sitting in any type of like puddle of water because it's on a little bit of a slope. So the water will drain down and it would just water, it will water the plant, to where it is. I have a lot of rock here at this property in the Catskills. So, as you'll notice throughout the channel that you'll see a lot of rock. And that's because like I'm on a mountain. So there is a lot of rocks up here. I feel like the foundation was built on rocks. The house was built in the 70s. So, we're just always finding just a lot of rocks. So let me begin by digging my hole. When I'm thinking about planting, I'm like, okay, what shovel should I use? I prefer the trenching shovel. It goes, for me, I have hard soil, I have a lot of rocks, so I need something that's gonna go deep into the ground, where this type of shovel is good for like when I'm scooping in my soil or if I am laying down mulch or anything like that. But when I'm digging, I actually wanna go, kind of deep in. So this allows me to dig, like double dig, right? So this is a double dig. It's a trench. I got this from Harbor Freight. I don't know where I'm digging, right? Like there's a lot of rocks. I like to be a little careful. So I'm gonna come up a little bit. And I'm just digging in. As you can see, more rock, right? So I have to just scrape away any type of loose dirt, see what I'm working with, tap around. I feel like there's a rock there. So I want to come in pretty deep, move it around, and pull it up, right? That rock will be good for edging. So I'll lay him there. If there's any weeds, just get the weeds out of the way, loosen up the soil, go back in, do another double dig. I'm going in. You see that? So now I start to get down to our dirt. So if you can see that, I have red clay. This is red clay. Zone 6A, we do not have good soil. So maybe if you are in the suburbs, you have some good soil, maybe you don't. However, where I'm at, I don't. You want to dig your hole twice the size of your root ball. So if you notice, I'm digging a little bit of a deeper hole. I'm putting my dirt to the side for a reason. The reason is when I amend my soil, after I mix my little soil cocktail and it's all amended in there, I'll come back and sprinkle it on top of the existing soil that's in there. So the transition for the plant will be good. Okay. Let me tell you, this is a pretty plant. Isn't she cute? We like all hues of green. We like yellow, white, and purple. So the salvia is so nice. We're super stoked about that. So I like to do a little test fit. I like to make sure that I have enough depth around. I like to make sure that when I put my pot in, the plant is not sitting really low and it's kind of leveled or just slightly higher than the grade. For me, that prevents any type of waterlogging. When it's a little higher up from the grade, we dug our hole and we made sure that it was twice the width around. Now I'm gonna go ahead and mix some soil together. And I mean, it's like mixing a good stew, right? You want to make sure that your perennials do well. And if you're anything like me, again, in the Catskills in 6A, and if your grounds are rocky or you got a lot of clay, you need to amend your soil. So how are we going to do that? I like to do a 3-part. Like I said, I'm going to just pour in a whole bag of the all-purpose in-ground soil. For a little bit more nutrition, I'm going to add in some compost, and this is just cow manure. Half of that is good. And the secret sauce, or the secret ingredient, because you know your perennials don't want or like anything soggy. They don't like soggy roots, right? Get yourself some all-purpose sand. You can pick that up right from Home Depot, and that's just a nice grit. And that helps with drainage. This is when I like to use this shovel here. And I'm just mixing. You're just mixing everything together. And listen, you just want a nice little consistency. The consistency that you're looking for is like this. Just like fluffy, can you see that? Fluffy soil. So now let's start digging. Before I start working with my perennial, I want to go ahead and put some soil amendment cocktail mix that we made kind of in there, right? And again, that just gives a nice little foundation for your perennial. Let me show you what it looks like. So again, I have my original soil to the side. I have my cocktail mix at the base. And now we're going to dig. All right, it's time to dig. All right. And where are we in the challenge? Oh, we're 19 minutes, okay. All right, let's go. So I have my salvia. I'm gonna just loosen up the root ball by just hitting it. You're not damaging. There's no damage that's happening as you're doing that. You never wanna just pull from the base, from the crown of your plant. You know what I'm saying? So tilt him over. And now you should be looking at a healthy root system. If you notice that the roots are a little kind of like bound together like that, get your trusty tool. It can be scissors, it can be some type of weed tool, it can be your fingers, but you just want to loosen up the soil. The purpose of you doing that is to give your roots a healthy start so they can grow outwards and grow deep. And you're not killing or hurting the plant. Loosen up the bottom if you can. Look at all those nice roots. And now you want to just gently place your plant. Okay. You want to just, kind of place your plant. Make sure that your plant is sitting nice. So the perennial is in the ground. He's leveled. I have him placed further back, wide enough where I can use my existing soil, push it up, and cover everything up to kind of the base or the crown of the plant. All right. So we have the perennial placed in its location. Now I'm gonna start backfilling. I'm backfilling by getting the shovel. I'm pouring it around the hole and base of the plant. Okay, I'm coming in. I'm tapping the soil around the base of the plant, all the way around. I'm using the compost mix. I'm using the existing soil that we removed from the ground, and I am planting him back in the original spot. Adding more compost. If you have weeds or anything like that, just shake those weeds away. You know, if you dug up any weeds. So now you're just slowly planting your perennial. You are going around and I like to use my fist, and I'm just making sure that the root ball is packed in. You're not hurting the plant. The purpose of packing your plant in is to make sure there's no air bubbles. Sometimes I like to go around and just use my feet and stomp around. It's good to have some garden shoes. Don't have your nice Hokas or, or your Ons. Those are made for running. Get yourself some good hunters. Something that's waterproofed. All right, put a little fashion in there. All right, so now I'm just going around, making sure that the perennial is planted in and it feels secure, which it does. Another pro tip is to make sure that your soil is not, touching really any of the foliage. So gently just come around with your fingers and just kind of smooth up the top. And that's it. That's it. And that's it. That is it. So let's get ready to add some drip irrigation. And the time is 28 minutes and 44 seconds, which means that 30-minute challenge accepted. We planted our perennial less than 30 minutes. That's exciting. So whenever you're feeling like I don't have enough time, it's stressful, there's a lot going on, it's not, We amended soil, we got all of our supplies, we dug a hole, and we planted a perennial less than 30 minutes. This particular step that I'm gonna do now is optional. If you don't have drip irrigation, that's okay. But because we're in zone 6A in Sullivan County in the Catskills, there's a lot of opportunity for, drought and plants going without water. And sometimes I'm between, Brooklyn or Delaware, maintaining 3 homes with 3 gardens with 3 different needs. So I need some automation. I need processes in place to keep everything alive and my work thriving in the garden. So that's why I'm just going to show you really quickly about the drip. So this is some poly tubing. This is a 1/4 inch. It has little emitters going around the emitters release little drips into the ground, and you can set this up on a timer coming from your garden hose, and that's another video. All of these little like couplings and barb system, whenever you choose, you can get that right at Lowe's, sometimes, or Amazon. Drip Depot has a nice kind of like starter kit. So shout out to Drip Depot, and you can watch their videos on YouTube to get the how-tos. The process is quite simple. Okay, so what I want to do now is I just want to make sure that I'm measuring my tubing around. I'm going to cut the tubing. I'm going to use one of these kind of couplings. They're designed to go into the tubing quite easy. I really love I love the color purple in the garden. It stands out against all of the green hues that we have in the garden. And I can't wait to take you through the different zones. I'm using this stake to put into the ground. This will make sure that the water seeps into the root ball and not like evaporate. So I like to connect 3 on each side. I'm going to connect my 1/4 inch to our main distribution tube, which we have buried in the grass here. You probably can't see it, but this little orange poker creates a hole quite easy in a distribution tube. You just poke it. You take a coupling, like a straight coupling, that allows you to insert into the distribution tube that we just poked a hole. Where is that hole? There it is. And okay, you gotta have some strength to it. Got it. All right, so we good. My last step is to add some fertilizer around the drip line. You could have added this to the soil cocktail mix, but hey, again, I forgot, so don't stress if you forget. Just come around and put it around the drip line. Add a little, scrape it in a little bit, and when it rains, this slow release fertilizer will feed your perennial. So we want to mulch around the plant, not on the crown, because if you mulch on the crown and your mulch touches the plant at the bottom, it could suffocate. So just put your mulch around. Mulch helps to retain the water. So it's like a moisture control. It helps to prevent weeds. So it's necessary. It makes it look pretty. And you want about 2 inches of mulch around the base. I like the black mulch because it really does make the plant pop. Sometimes if you can't get to a certain section, just use your hand, dig your hand deep in the bag of mulch and make sure, the key is just to make sure it's not on the crown. Okay, so now this is pretty much done. Because this is on a slope and I don't want the water to go away, any rocks around the garden, I'll just go ahead and place. Okay. And this will help hold the mulch in place. It will create some type of, I'll put that one there for now. No, that looks crazy. Let me find another one. We have a watering can. And now the last step is to water your perennial in. So when you do water, don't water from the top because maybe your plant has a disease. Water from the bottom. Don't go off fast because you never know. You want to make sure that you are giving this a good drink and the water is going directly into the soil. And it is. And that's the thing, you know, the reason why the water is going right into this clay soil the way it is because, you know, we amended the soil. We had our cocktail mix of in-ground, compost, and the existing soil. So we have a nice base for this to live on for many, many, many years. And we did this all within 30 minutes. Just remember that gardening is a process and it's your own process. So it's not supposed to be perfect. You're supposed to get in there and get your hands dirty. So remember, for your perennial, make sure your perennial gets water once it's established, and you can water it weekly. When it rains, that's perfect because then it's getting all of the natural rainwater, which is perfect. Oh God, these bugs. So let your plant do its thing, right? Like you just put it in the ground, you're excited. Nothing has to be perfect in your garden unless that's what you're thriving for. But have fun, get your hands dirty, water your perennial maybe once a week. And after that, the root should be established after the season. And then like let it do its thing. You know, that is what you want. You want perennials, if you're anything like me, because you're super busy and you want to see blooms come back year after year. All right. Until then, enjoy, root deep, roam free, and stay grounded. Peace.